Who is going to get after the quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs in 2025? I think that's one of the bigger questions surrounding this Georgia team heading into the offseason, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. I'm going to be talking about the guys who left, who they have to replace, and who Georgia has on the roster who could become big-time players, not only on the defensive line, but at outside linebacker too, because listen, the Dogs are losing a lot of production, a lot of key production, including sacks, right? Jalen Walker, the best linebacker in college football, a dominant outside linebacker who also played inside. He had six and a half sacks. He's gone. Chaz Chambliss, a damn good dog, by the way, a guy that a lot of Georgia fans weren't super happy with early on in his career. He was very productive the last 2 years, and he had 6.5 sacks last year. They've got to replace him. They've got to replace Michael Williams, a guy who played in 11 games, made 5 starts and 5 sacks, right? So they're replacing a lot. And I do want to start off on the interior of the defensive line because, as we saw last year, teams were able to run on the Georgia defense a lot more than they have basically since 2016. I think you have to go all the way back there to find another season where teams had as much success on the ground against Georgia as they did this year. Georgia Tech ran through them. UMass had some success. We saw what Alabama was able to do both on the ground and through the air. So this Georgia defense was good, and at times it was elite, one of the best defenses in college football, but they had their issues. They had their problems. And we haven't seen a defense from Georgia have kind of that many problems in a long, long time. So they can't go backwards. That's what I'm trying to say. They cannot go backwards as a defense. They've got to keep moving forward. And again, they were elite against Texas. They were very good against Notre Dame. So we saw that. But when you're losing this many guys, especially on the interior, again, Michael Williams, not really an interior guy, more of a true defensive end type, who could play inside. Anyway, one of the best players on the defense, he's gone. Warren Brinson, who appeared in 11 of 13 games, made 3 starts, another veteran, experienced guy. He's off to the NFL. Nazir Stackhouse, a captain, a leader, a guy who played in all 13 games, started in 12 of them last year. He's off to the NFL. And then Ty Ingram Dawkins, a guy who I thought would probably benefit from coming back another year. He decided he's going to leave and go to the NFL. He played in all 13 games last year, making 10 starts, 3 sacks. So again, you're replacing so many guys just on the defensive line. We'll talk about the edge defenders and outside linebackers in just a second. They're okay at the inside linebacker. They've got some dogs there. That means there no issues at inside linebacker whatsoever. They've got to replace basically everywhere else on that front seven. Who's coming back? Right? Kristen Miller is coming back. He's another veteran, experienced guy from that 22 class. He appeared in 10 of 11 games. He started in 10 of 11 games this year that he played in. So he's a guy who plays with good leverage, an outstanding run defender, can cause pressure on the quarterback. But is he Jalen Carter? Is he Jordan Davis? No, he's not. He's not Trayvon Walker, different player than Trayvon. But still, he's a good player. I don't know if he's a great player. And you need great players if you want to win a national championship. Jack Sawyer, last night, what he did for Ohio State, that's a great player who made a great play. And we saw that from Jordan Davis and Trayvon Walker and Jalen Carter and those guys. And I'm a little concerned that they don't have a guy like that next year on the roster. They've got Kristen Miller. He's going to start. He's going to be the leader of that group. They also have Jordan Hall, who, through 2 years, has battled through some injuries, right? Still hasn't played to his potential. I think year 3 could possibly be a breakout type of season. When he was a recruit, I said, okay, this could be the next Jalen Carter type. He was a 5-star, explosive off the snap, plays with good leverage, can win with, natural quickness for a guy 300 pounds, but can also win with pure strength and power. But a guy who just makes a lot of plays. I think year 3, if he's healthy, because he's been battling some injuries, if he's healthy, Jordan Hall, I expect to have a really big and productive season year 3 for the Dogs. So he's a guy to keep a close eye on. Xavier McLeod played some, kind of had an up and down season. He'd flash occasionally and make a play. He was the transfer from South Carolina, but there are other times where he's getting shoved backwards 5 yards. So that guy's got to be a little better. Flashed here and there, but he's going to have to flash and make more of an impact next year. He's an interior guy as well. Joseph Jonah Ajanye, he was a freshman this past season, appeared in 4 games. Still more of an an end, true natural end, 6'4", about 275, but he can play inside as well. So he's a guy to keep an eye on who could have a really big year too. They played him early in the season as a freshman. I didn't think he played that soon. And he got pushed around a little bit. I mean, he was a true freshman. He's only been playing football for a few years. He's just a big kind of athletic, raw, talented kid. As he develops, works on the fundamentals, the technique, I think he could turn into a really nice player. So they've got him as well. And then they've got some unknowns. They've got several unknown guys on the defensive line that you may not know who they are right now, but they have the potential to make an impact next year. Jordan Thomas is a guy who made a big play at the end. I believe it was the Tennessee Tech game, week 2, in the backfield, big sack. It was close to a safety. I'm trying to remember, but that guy is 300 plus pounds, really athletic, from New Jersey, a guy that Georgia fans don't know a ton about. Would not surprise me if he had a really big spring and tried to emerge or attempted to emerge as one of the top young defensive linemen on this roster. Dawg Boko is a nose guard, interior type that they signed. He was a 3-star from North Carolina. Maybe he's a guy who can turn into a true dominant nose tackle, right? Playing between the center, the guard, taking on blocks, eating up space, closing those gaps in the run lane. Just, again, a space eater in the middle. That's what they need. They haven't had a Jordan Davis type since Jordan Davis, and they haven't had a playmaker on the inside like Jalen Carter since, right? Dawg Boko could be that guy, but he's got to do it. He's got to continue to work hard and add more weight, add more muscle, transform his body a little bit, and be that type of guy. Nasir Johnson, another athlete, 300 pounds, can do a full backflip. I mean, the athleticism is there. He's a kid out of Dublin, small town rural kid that a lot of people are really excited about. I think in year 2 could see him make a big step. A lot of these guys in their second year, especially if it's their second spring, that's where the light starts clicking more and more. Like it's flashing a little bit as their freshman season's going on. They're learning, picking up things here and there, getting better slowly. But then it's the spring. And so for a lot of these guys in that 24 class who have been on the roster in the program for a full year, when the spring rolls around and they start year 2, they start picking up more things, that light bulb really starts to just come on and stay on. And I think it could for guys like Jordan Thomas, Dawg Boko, Nasir Johnson, and maybe a guy like Justin Green, who I think still has some work to do. But I think those other 3 from that 24 class could push for some type of playing time, especially if they start to get banged up, right? Because you can't just assume that these guys are all going to be healthy. They also have Elijah Griffin, 5-star freshman coming in, and J.J. Hand. But let's talk about linebacker, right? Jalen Walker, like I said earlier, 6.5 sacks. He's gone. Top 15 pick. I hope my Birds in Atlanta draft him. Traz Chambliss gone, 6.5 sacks. Damon Wilson transferred out. He had 3 sacks. That was going to be the guy. That was going to be the next great Georgia pass rusher who takes that upon himself, the leader, the captain, having a massive, massive junior year. That's what I thought. That's what a lot of people thought. He said, no, through 2 years, I want to be more of a playmaker. I want to light up the stat sheet a little more. And it looks like Ohio State might be the team to beat. So he's in the portal. I don't think Georgia landed him. So that's 15 sacks, right? 16 sacks right there that they've got to replace. Who's going to do it? Here are some names. Gabe Harris, who came in with Damon Wilson and Sam Mpemba. He's the only one left. Sam Mpemba off to the portal. Damon Wilson off to the portal. Gabe Harris was the guy who played at Valdosta and Thomas County Central and IMG. Kind of bounced around in high schools a little bit, but 6'4", 250, explosive off the edge. He's a natural pass rusher and a guy who finds the quarterback. I think he just had 2 sacks, but he was playing behind a lot of these other guys. But it wouldn't surprise me if he started to emerge and really make a name for himself. He's doing it slowly, but we'll see. Quintavious Johnson is another guy I've been very high on ever since seeing him play in person in high school in 100-degree heat. He's playing both ways, making plays at running back, defensive end. Looks the part for sure. And pads on, that looks like a guy who could wreak some havoc. This will be year 2 for him, and I think he's a guy who has enough potential and talent to really surprise a lot of Georgia fans. So Quintavious Johnson, the kid out of Mays, was a 3-star in that 24 class. He's better than that 3-star ranking. I've been saying that for a long time. Would not surprise me if he had a big spring and kind of emerged as a, hey, I know the other guys in front of me, they're all gone. I'm going to take advantage of this big opportunity that I have. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Kick and play. You also have the 3 incoming freshmen who are 3 of the best in the country. Isaiah Gibson, 7-foot wingspan, explosive, big, physical, who can run and move really well out of Warner Robins. He was the #1 edge defender in the country for a reason. Georgia loves him, and that length and that explosiveness, he's going to be a very, very good player in Athens. We'll see how early he plays, but I think we're going to see him next year in the fall. I think he is one of the freshmen that we're probably going to see the most of, especially if the guys in front of him don't turn into a true alpha dominant pass rusher. They need guys. They need guys to get after the quarterback. This guy can do it. If he can have a big offseason and continue to learn, develop, understand what he's doing, I think we'll see a lot of him this fall. Darren Ikenagbin is a kid that staff, they told him and his high school coach, hey, we see this kid and we see Michael Williams. So maybe not an interior guy, and maybe he grows out of that edge outside linebacker role and plays with his hand in the ground. But he's a guy that, again, long, athletic, the potential is there. He's just got to refine his technique and learn how to play football and practice against Dawgs day in and day out. That's where he's going to get better. So not sure how early we'll see him. If he does get on the field early, that says a lot, because it's another kid who's only been playing football for a few years, still fairly new to the game, but you can't teach size and length, and he's got it. Chase Linton is another kid. He was out of North Atlanta, a top edge defender. Again, kind of a violent player. He's long, he's quick, lived in the backfield last year for North Atlanta. He's a guy to keep an eye on too. But at the end of the day, they got to get to the quarterback. If you want to win a championship, you have to have animals. You got to have dogs. You got to have beasts on the outside getting after the quarterback, especially those 3rd and longs, 4th and short, any type of passing scenario. You got to have guys that are going to get into the backfield immediately and attack the quarterback. The opportunity is there for a lot of guys to step up. They just got to take it. They got to take it. But if you're Georgia, it's a little concerning right now with all of the talent that's left. So who's going to get after the quarterback? Who's going to be that true alpha dog on Georgia's defensive line in 2025? You let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you over on Dawg Post.